In this video, we're diving into a heartbreaking case that began with a young woman vanishing in broad daylight. As the search intensified, what unfolded was a disturbing trail of evidence that led to a horrifying truth. This is the tragic story of Brooke Wilberger.
This is my home! Yay!
19-year-old Oak Wilberger lived in Oregon and was the fifth of 6 children. She came from a big family. She did really well in school and had a lot of potential when it came to sports. She loved basketball, snowboarding, and running. Brooke began dating Justin, one of her best friends from youth, when she was 16 years old. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was very important to both of them. Brooke went to Brigham Young University in Utah, while Justin was on a 2-year mission for the church. When Brooke was younger, she had trouble talking. She didn't start talking until she was 4 years old. The main reason she chose BYU was because it had one of the best speech pathology schools. Her life goal was to help people who had trouble speaking get better and feel better about themselves. Family members said she spoke softly but never held back when she thought something or someone was wrong. She had also grown up in her small town and wanted to try new things, so she was ready for college. It was a good first year for her. Brooke went home for the summer after her freshman year. Like a lot of other students, she was eager to get some extra money to get her through the next few months. Stephanie, her sister, found her a job at Oak Park Apartments in Corvallis, which is about 30 miles from where their parents live. Stephanie and her husband not only lived in the building, but they also ran it. So it was a great job for Brooke that she could fit in with her busy social life during the summer. She planned to stay with Stephanie for a few days at a time, to work her shifts and then go hang out with everyone else. 24 May 2004. It was a warm Monday morning in Corvallis, Oregon, at the start of the week. Stephanie and Brooke were going to have lunch together that afternoon, in between Brooke's shifts. Stephanie looked out her window at 10 a.m. and saw Brooke filling up a bucket with water to use to clean some of the outside lights. After a few hours, Stephanie, who was busy making lunch for her kids and sister, looked at her watch and saw that it was already noon. It was a long time past 1 p.m. Brooke was not on time. Stephanie said she grabbed her kids and joked, "Okay, let's send out the search party." She went from block to block because she thought Brooke had either gotten caught up with a neighbor or been working and lost track of time. But all of a sudden, she saw something that made her feel uncomfortable. What Brooke had been using to fill up her buckets with water and clean up was next to a light. Although she was getting closer, she saw that Brooke's flip-flops from that day were also there. They had mud on them, and the plastic part that goes between your toes was torn. Stephanie said that it looked like someone had dragged her out of them while she was trying to stay put. They ran around for a little longer after she called her husband. Just after 3 p.m., when everyone saw that her phone, bag, and wallet were all locked in her car, they knew it was time to call 911.
911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I've got someone who's missing, a worker of mine that I can't seem to find. Missing from where? I'm the manager of the Oak Park Apartments, and this worker actually happens to be my sister-in-law. She's 19. When was the last time anybody saw her? Around 10:30.
The cops were just as worried as Stephanie right away. Lieutenant Ron Noble said, "Adults can come and go whenever they want. Usually we'd wait to see if she showed up, maybe the next day." In this case, though, that wasn't going to work. It was clear that Brooke was not the type of person to just leave without telling anyone where she was going. Some people in the area said they heard a scream around 10:30 a.m. that morning, but no one had seen anything. Within hours, the word got around quickly. While some agents went from door to door in the complex to talk to everyone, others looked for the sex offenders in the area. And since there were about 2,000 of them, it was a huge job. Of course, they also wanted to talk to Justin, her boyfriend, but he was very far away. Everyone who knew him said he was in Venezuela the whole time, where his job was. He thought about getting married, and Brooke had always told him she wanted a big family with lots of kids. There was no way Justin could believe that this was now his life. As soon as they talked to him, they ruled him out. Captain Jonathan Sassimon of the police said, "It was very stressful. A group of people were looking for answers. Your neighborhood was scared. Was there someone else out there? Who will be the next person to get hurt?" Brooke's case quickly became one of the most talked about in Oregon's history. A lot of people helped with the searching, and the FBI was called in. In different parts of Oregon, and even farther away, people said they had seen someone who looked like Brooke. A few days later, police did get a tip about a guy named Sung Koo Kim, and he became a person of interest right away. Kim, who was 30, lived with his parents about 80 miles away from Corvallis and didn't talk to many people. They knew about him because he had been taking knickers from college dorms all over the place. He was later charged with burglary. He stole from a college room at Oregon State University, which is only a short distance from Oak Park Apartments. His house was searched and found to have thousands and thousands of pairs of women's knickers. The agent thought that this kind of behavior could easily get worse. The cops went to Kim's house just before dawn, almost a week after Brooke went missing. He had tens of thousands of sexual pictures and movies on his computer. A lot of them showed rape, torture, and body mutilation. A file named osu.doc was also found on his PC. Doc, Oregon State College. It was written after Brooke went missing, and it was very scary. This book was mostly instructions on how to do a sexually related crime and get away with it. It told you what to wear and what to bring with you. But there was no way for him to be related to Brooke. The lead was strong, but it was also worrying. Kim was finally ruled out when his computer, phone, and receipts showed that he was at home with his dad buying things at the store when she went missing. Later, Kim would go to prison for 7 years on multiple charges, including burglary. His parents would also sue the police for breaking into their home that morning, saying it was too much and scary. They agreed to pay a little more than $300,000. For Brooke, the days turned into weeks, and soon it would be a month, and no one knew where the 19-year-old was. And it was clear that the chances of finding Brooke living were decreasing every day based on statistics. Investigators did have a tip about a car they were after that had shown up more than once. They wanted to know more about a car that they thought was dark green, something from 1997. They also asked a man named Brian to come forward because he had called 911 before to say that the same car was going too fast and was endangering other people. Several people told police that they heard what sounded like the same van moving around near Oregon State University on the day Brooke went missing. Bob, who works at the university, said that he saw the car with the Minnesota license plate in the parking lot. He saw the driver talk to a female student. The student was so scared that she told someone at the university about what happened. A second student said the car pulled up in front of her and asked her where she was going. After the man got out and opened the back door, she ran away quickly. Even though these clues were good, they still needed to be checked out to see who was in the car and if that person was linked. It didn't take long for 6 painful months to pass without any news. The search teams were starting to fall apart, and normal life went on for everyone. And finally, in November, Police in Albuquerque, New Mexico, over 1,400 miles away, would get a call that was so much like Brooke's case that they couldn't ignore it. While Doreen was driving with her children, they saw a young woman yelling and running across the main road to a restaurant where she began to try to open the door. She quickly pulled over and helped the woman get into her car. She was a Russian exchange student who was 22 years old and told the story with tears in her eyes. She had been walking when someone grabbed her from behind and put a knife to her throat. Someone tall, wide, white, with a shaved head and beard, dragged her into his car, raped her, and then tied her up with her own shoelaces. After that, he pulled into an apartment block and left the car to go into one of the units. Almost miraculously, she got away and began running for her life. Dara called 911 and tried to describe the man and his very recognizable car. There is a red two-door car inside with red flowers and a small animal hanging near the window. The police quickly came up with a name: Joel Patrick Courtney. He is married and has 3 children. He lives with his family in a neighborhood of Albuquerque. A few blocks away, he was found in his car with a crack pipe and a knife. Actually, Joel had been found guilty of sexual assault and many other crimes over the years, and he had been in prison since 1991. Joel, who was 38 years old, had moved around a lot and had worked a lot of different jobs. He had been all over the world, in places like Alaska, Florida, New Mexico, and Oregon. The other day, Joel's wife, Rosie, got a protection order against him because he choked her. His sister, Dina, said that he was smart as a child and seemed headed for great things. He started taking drugs when he was only 11, though, and it got harder and harder. And when he was a teenager, he became interested in Satanism. He dropped out of high school and went to and from youth detention centers for a number of offenses, including a sexual assault he committed when he was 18. She also said that he would sneak into her room in the middle of the night, choke her, and try to rape her. While Dina was 23 years old, Joe met Rosie and had his first children. She said that things seemed to calm down. Even though she had terrible things happen with him, she decided to forgive him and keep trying to get closer to him. However, he turned to drugs and alcohol again after a few years, and things became much, much worse. Let's go back to the time he was arrested. Joel was still drinking a lot, using crack cocaine often, and getting DUIs. An exchange student, aged 22, was raped, kidnapped, and hit him, and he was charged right away. One hard-working detective couldn't help but make links to Brooke's case, which was still going on miles away and was getting a lot of attention from the media. Both Brooke and the other student looked a lot alike, and it looked like they had been taken away in a similar way. Someone from the police officer that was working on Brooke's case called to see if they had heard of Joel. It turned out that Joel had been in that area with his family on the day Brooke was taken. And when Dina, Joel's sister, was called by Rosie to talk about his arrest, she thought the same thing the cops did. Dina asked her husband, "Do you think he couldn't be involved with it?" after she got on the call. Before stopping to think about the missing 19-year-old, she said, "It's impossible to even think it's possible." Dina said she couldn't say it out loud, but she had a feeling he knew where Brooke was.
Good afternoon. I'm Natalie Marmy, and General Hospital will be seen at a later time. Right now, we're bringing you the latest in breaking news in the disappearance of Brooke Wilberger. We now know police believe Brooke was murdered, and police believe a man currently sitting in an Albuquerque jail was the one who killed her.
Even though they didn't have Brooke's body, they thought she was dead. And while Joel was locked up, they spent months gathering proof against him. What a surprise when the police found the car Joel was driving at the time. It was a dark green minivan. Others in the area saw the same car going fast all over the area. A forensics team took it apart and tested and swabbed everything inside. The results were finally back after a long wait, and they were very clear. Brooke's DNA was found inside in the spring of 2005, and her blonde hairs were found in one of Joel's bags in a hairband. The DNA also helped them figure out that Brooke had been raped.
We are at a milestone in this case in that on Friday, July 29th, last Friday, the Benton County Grand Jury reviewed this case, the case of Brooke Wilberger. The grand jury, after hearing all of the evidence, returned a 19-count indictment accusing Joel Patrick Courtney, who's 39 years old, of 14 counts of aggravated murder alleged in alternative theories, 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping in the first degree, 1 count of first-degree rape, 1 count of first-degree sexual abuse, and 1 count of first-degree sodomy. Under Oregon law, the maximum possible penalty for aggravated murder is death. With charges pending in New Mexico, however, it is unlikely that he'll be available for extradition to Oregon for some time. So don't expect to see the defendant before an Oregon court in the next few days or the next few weeks. As you know, the defendant was arrested November 29th of last year in Albuquerque on similar but unrelated charges in their jurisdiction involving the abduction and sodomization of a college-age student there in New Mexico. The huge difference between that case and our case is that the victim in New Mexico was able to escape and survive the attack and report it to the police.
On December 19th, 2016, Joel Patrick Courtney was finally charged with 19 charges, which included aggravated murder, kidnapping, sodomy, and rape. The lawyer said that after seeing the papers, he and his other prisoners laughed about them all afternoon. The next time his mother came to see him and asked him directly if he had killed Brooke, Joel still denied knowing her, let alone doing anything to her. He paused and then said, "They'll never hold me accountable for this." In January 2007, Joel said that his mental health problems made him unable to stand trial for what he did to Brooke, but the court said he was mentally fit. Cameron, Brooke's mum, said she was driving when she heard the news and did a little dance in the car. Thinking about the fact that he wouldn't have to go to court made her so scared she almost fell into a black hole, but he had to first go to jail for the attack on the woman in New Mexico.
A Rio Rancho man who faces a murder charge in a highly publicized Oregon case has been sentenced to 18 years in prison for kidnapping and raping a University of New Mexico foreign exchange student back in 2004.
Joel finally admitted guilt and was given 18 years in prison for kidnapping and raping. During his punishment, he continued to treat the court and judge badly.
No respect for this court. You're the rudest person I've ever met. I would spit in your face if I was close enough. Well, don't even start.
The police said that they became more excited and angry the more he showed them what kind of person he was. They were going to find Brooke no matter what, because he told them where she was. 5 years had passed since Brooke was last seen, and Joel's trial was set for early 2010. He was going to be put to death, and the prosecutors wanted to make him a deal in return for Brooke's body. He refused for months and played games with everyone. But after being badly beaten by other prisoners and not being able to get any anxiety medicine, he decided he wanted to go to a different jail. He turned the fact that he knew where Brooke was into a weapon and held it over everyone's heads until he could use it to get something. This is what he brought back. Joel said that he wanted to start the last 18 years of his sentence near his family in New Mexico. Once that was over, he planned to move back to Oregon. He also did not want the death sentence to be considered. Everybody agreed. Joel then changed his plea to guilty and finally decided to give Brooke's family everything they had been praying for and asking for 5 years.
Missing person posters are being taken down for Brooke Wilberger. More than 5 years after she disappeared, police in Oregon have finally located the remains of the 19-year-old college student.
Oregon's Attorney General is in Eugene for several reasons, but he spent the day tackling questions about the Wilberger case. John Kroger says he applauds the work done by the Benton County District Attorney's Office. Oregon's AG is pleased with the outcome, getting Joel Courtney to give up Wilberger's remains as part of the plea deal. He also believes the DA's office handled the case well, especially since the case came with a lot of public scrutiny.
I think it was very important not only to make sure that he serves a life sentence without any chance of release, but also to make sure that the remains of the victim were found. I think that was extraordinarily important.
Off of an old, empty road about 12 miles west of where Brooke was taken, her body parts were finally found. She was hidden under a downed tree on private land where he had killed her. Their oral records helped them figure out who she was, and her mum could say that the silver watch she gave her for Christmas was still on her. Cammie had a very clear memory of giving it to her. Brooke's family, who always act tough in class, told Joel that they were thankful. Cammie said, "We're glad that justice was done and that he won't be able to get parole. He can now move on with his life." Joel said he did what he did in court. He said that he had been looking for a young woman while driving around the area that terrible day. He admitted that he tried to kidnap 2 other college students before Brooke. Those 2 students had already told their stories, and he was charged in their cases as well. He changed his plan when he saw Brooke working alone and drove by. He claimed to be a delivery driver. When she got close to the van, he grabbed her with a knife and dragged her inside, where he sexually attacked her while taped up. He took her to the woods and left her there overnight before killing her with a club. He told her that he wasn't even thinking about killing her until she fought him so hard. He was shocked at how strong she was. He said that the way he hid her body made it very unlikely that anyone would have found her without him telling them.
Not much has been disclosed in the Wilberger case about where the crime actually took place. Authorities say it happened in the woods in Benton County in Coastal Range. And for the people who live in that area, they say they can't believe something like this could have happened in their backyard.
This is a real, nice community, and, bad stuff is just never happens out here. It just doesn't.
It's kind of eerie that he went in, he could have been in here. He could have been in here the next day, the day before.
Mark Scacco owns the Blodgett Country Store, which is about 3 miles from where he thinks the crime was committed. He says he's surprised it could have happened so close to home.
Some of us actually did search that area because it's a little abandoned road. And nobody seen anything. So, if something wants to be hidden, it can be hidden very well.
But the news about Wilberger hasn't changed their attitude about Blodgett.
We love it here, and we just are so sorry that this happened, but it doesn't change our feeling about the community.
And no one worries there's anything else hidden in these woods.
I'm not going to pick up my bags and leave. This is my hometown, and anywhere you go, it can...
There are no signs that he cares about her family or wants to say sorry. He was given a life sentence without the chance to get out. Dina, Joel's sibling, said, "From the very first inkling of a possible connection, the core of our family has stood with solid conviction that while we love Joel, we answer to God first and foremost, and would commit to making ourselves available to the pursuit of clarification of facts and events." In our first prayer, on November 30th, 2004, we asked God, "Father, if Joel is guilty, please let him tell the truth and help us find Brooke." It broke my heart to hear that the truth had been found and Brooke's body had been found. It makes me sad, but I'm so glad that the Wilberger family can finally get the answers they've been looking for so long. Even though no one knows for sure, the FBI is very sure that he could be a serial killer and have found 3 more victims in Oregon that he may have sexually attacked and killed. A lawyer said that the only other person she had ever met who was so evil that it made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. That person was serial killer Richard Ramirez.
It's just a total community effort, and not just Corvallis, but all of Oregon, really. Everybody worked together.
Cammie Wilberger takes the podium at the Lascelles Stewart Center in Corvallis. She sends her deepest thanks to those, some strangers, who've lent their support over the years to help find her daughter, Brooke. Because it seems one way or another, everyone in Corvallis is connected to the Brooke Wilberger case. The story lingering strong for years in the town, so much that it easily brings tears to former volunteers.
I walked several different days, trying to find her.
Organizers say without a doubt this has been a defining moment for Corvallis.
We do not want ourselves as individuals or this community to be defined by tragedy.
As for the next couple of years, Cammie Wilberger says she hopes not for closure, but a beginning to what's been shown to them all these years. Love.
We have a lot of things that as a family we're doing. Everybody just moving on, doing good things, trying to, do the best you can do, to love other people and do what Brooke would have done.
Brooke went from being excited about lunch with her sister and cleaning the streetlights to having the worst nightmare in just a few minutes. I don't think I will ever think about what happened to her and be okay with it, her sister Stephanie said. I could be 80 years old and have lived my whole life. That won't be okay in time. She also said she couldn't picture going back in time to that morning in 2004 and doesn't want to think about what she could have done differently. What could she have changed? It's really a tiring series of thoughts. Cammie said that the sadness will always be bigger than anyone can think. Our family has said that this is a bit like being on an iceberg. What people see isn't even close to what we see on the inside. What they see is shocking and maybe even heartbreaking. Thanks for watching. If Brooke's story moved you, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to help keep her memory alive and support the pursuit of justice for all victims. Share your thoughts in the comments. Every voice helps ensure these stories are never forgotten. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and hold your loved ones close.